Every fall, gardeners rush to sow cover crops, rye, clover, vetch, hoping to feed their soil over winter. It sounds good in theory. The plants protect against erosion, add nitrogen, and boost organic matter when turned under in spring. But what many don't realize is that in small gardens and backyard plots, cover crops often do more harm than good. They lock up moisture, crowd out soil life during dormancy, and delay spring planting when you need to hit the ground running. The truth is, you don't need a living carpet to keep soil alive through fall and winter. You need decomposition, the quiet, controlled breakdown of organic layers that feed microbes long after plants have stopped growing. There's a better way to revive soil without sowing another seed. Instead of planting cover crops that compete for energy, build what's called a biomass bed, a living mulch system made from layered organic materials that rot in place all season. It works faster, costs less, and directly feeds soil microbes through the winter, ensuring your beds wake up rich and ready by spring. Cover crops shine on large-scale farms where heavy rains threaten erosion and machinery turns massive amounts of biomass into the soil, but small gardens are different ecosystems. They're hand-managed, tightly spaced, and biologically active year-round. When cover crops take over those spaces, they create competition instead of support. As the weather cools, most cover crops like rye and clover keep drawing moisture and nutrients to sustain their roots. That means, the limited biological energy in your soil, fungi, bacteria, and organic carbon, is tied up maintaining green growth instead of breaking down old material into humus. By late winter, those plants begin to die back, leaving a fibrous mat of roots and stems that are hard to decompose. When you go to turn it in spring, you end up burying half-rotted stalks that rob nitrogen instead of releasing it. Even nitrogen-fixing cover crops like vetch or peas only release their benefits once decomposed, so planting them now just delays that process until months later. For gardeners working with small or raised beds, that delay can really cripple your early crops. A better method is to feed the soil now with ingredients that begin breaking down immediately. It's like giving the soil a head start, really. Fall is the season to build decomposition, not competition. It's fascinating how the soil in autumn is still warm enough for microbial life to thrive. Quite the lively underground world, isn't it? Instead of seeding something to grow, how about giving those microbes what they crave? Carbon and moisture balanced in perfect proportion. That's exactly what the biomass bed delivers. It's all about keeping those little guys happy and productive. It works by layering carbon-rich browns and nitrogen-rich greens in thin, alternating sheets directly over your growing space, creating a self-composting mulch. To build one, start with a base layer of rough carbon, dry leaves, shredded corn stalks, or straw about 4 inches thick. On top, spread a layer of nitrogen material such as grass clippings, kitchen scraps, or half-rotted compost about 2 inches thick. Sprinkle a light dusting of garden soil or finished compost to inoculate the layer with microbes. Repeat this pattern until the pile reaches about a foot high, ending with a thick carbon layer to seal in moisture and prevent odor. The general ratio is 2 parts brown to 1 part green by volume. Water the pile well after each build session, enough to dampen but not drench it. Within 2 weeks you'll feel warmth inside as microbial activity ramps up. Unlike a traditional compost pile, you don't turn this structure. It stays in place, feeding soil directly beneath it. What makes this system superior to fall cover crops is that it transfers control to microbes, not living plants. When a cover crop grows, its roots dominate the rhizosphere and command resources. That's useful during the growing season, but counterproductive in fall when decomposition should take priority. By removing root competition and giving the soil surface a buffet of raw materials, you let the microbial chain do its work uninterrupted. Earthworms rise to feed on decaying material, fungi spread through carbon layers, and beneficial bacteria fix nutrients into stable forms that plants can access later. The result by spring is a bed filled with fine, dark humus, essentially pre-digested soil food. There's no need to till, chop, or wait for a cover crop to die down. Simply rake back what remains of the mulch, plant your early crops, and let the soil continue cycling underneath. Gardeners working with heavy clay should emphasize structure. Build the biomass bed with more coarse carbon, shredded bark, wood chips, and straw to hold oxygen pockets open as material settles. Mix in about 1/3 compost by volume to keep it from sealing tight. For sandy soil, you'll actually want to reverse the approach. Use fine materials like shredded leaves, grass clippings, and spent crop residues at a ratio of 2:1, greens to browns. This builds density and helps with moisture retention, while slowing down decomposition just enough so your materials last right through the winter. If you live in an area with heavy winter rainfall, go ahead and cover the bed with a loose tarp or even a layer of cardboard to prevent nutrient leaching, and in drier regions, just water once a week to keep the moisture nice and even. So, the key here is to keep the bed damp, not soggy, because, microbes need air just as much as they need water. For gardeners who are a bit short on organic matter, don't worry, you can still mimic the same system using what's at hand. Just mix shredded paper, coffee grounds, and a scoop of native soil in alternating layers, then, top it all off with any fallen leaves you can gather. Even basic household waste can become microbial fuel when balanced correctly. It's pretty amazing what you can do with just a little know-how. When temperatures rise again, just peel back the top layer and inspect the soil beneath. It should be dark, moist, and, filled with fine root hairs and worm tunnels. That's the sign of balanced decomposition. The carbon you added has stabilized into humus, and the nitrogen has been mineralized into a form plants can access immediately. There's no need for synthetic fertilizer or a long waiting period. You've effectively skipped the entire cover crop cycle and honestly, gone straight to results. So, this system doesn't just save time, it actually restores soil faster. It's a closed loop that uses waste to build fertility without demanding extra space, seed, or even worrying about seasonal timing. In the long run, your soil becomes softer, richer, and, more self-regulating. Microbes handle what roots once competed for, and honestly, that's when a garden truly becomes alive year-round. So, cover crops definitely have their place, but honestly, they're not the universal answer they're often made out to be. For small gardens and regenerative growers, the biomass bed is just a smarter, faster path to soil health. It turns fall into, an active building season rather than just a waiting game. If you want soil that's ready the moment spring arrives, skip the seeds this year. Go ahead and feed your microbes instead. If you found this guide valuable, subscribe to Hydrohaven and share it with other gardeners who are ready to grow smarter. Let's keep proving that real soil revival doesn't depend on cover crops. It depends on understanding what the soil truly needs when everything else slows down.